What's up, everybody? This is Matt Halfhill with Nice Kicks live from the Agenda Trade Show. I am joined with Josh and Brandon from Clearweather Brand. Guys, how's it going?
Amazing.
For those who aren't familiar, you guys didn't start in this business with Clearweather Brand either. You know, talk about your history in footwear.
He kind of started it off, man. When I was very young, I want to say maybe 11 or 12, he got a job designing footwear for Vans, and it kind of changed my whole outlook in general, just speaking for myself.
Right.
I didn't know that you could draw shoes and make money. That shit flipped my world kind of upside down. So it was very cool to me. So I've been drawing shoes ever since. And
I just completely fell into it. Like, was going to college, and then all of a sudden met a dude that like was running Vans at the time, and dude was like, "Oh, you draw shoes?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I draw." You know, never really thought about drawing shoes, but yeah, I can do it. And been doing it for 21 years now, you know what I mean?
I think I've got 12 or 13 years under my belt.
Which is like the tightest part of it. Obviously, we're brothers, you know, and for us to be able to like do what we love to do together is like the tightest shit ever.
Well, the thing that I've noticed is, like, we've hung out several times. Every single time, each one of you talks about how the crazy thing that the other one did in a project. How much do you guys inspire each other?
A lot.
Oh, shit.
I think we feed off each other, man. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know what the hell I'd be doing if it wasn't for him.
I think for me and Josh, it's like real simple, right? Like, I definitely inspired him when he was young, right? And I'm getting emotional, but it's like kind of now he's inspiring me. It's kind of like a counterbalance, and I think that's why like all this is so tight for like me and him to be doing our own company.
So take me through, where did the idea for starting your own brand come about? When did it come about?
In reality, we were both chasing our own careers, right? And we were doing the whole, like, I don't know what you call it, but it's chasing a title, chasing a number. It's like my inspiration was to make more money every year. My inspiration was to grow as a designer, to make new stuff, right? And then I just hit a ceiling, and I'm just like, this isn't making me happy anymore. I can't go any higher. I don't know what I want to do. I just want to make the shit that I want to do, and I don't really want a bunch of people in my head telling me that's wrong or right or whatever. So, you know, it was a dream of mine to always do something with him. He's done a few brands, and I've watched him do the brands, and it's like been an amazing experience from the outside in. And I always wanted to do my own shit, and when I always said in myself, I said I'd do my own brand, it just wouldn't be right to do it without him. But now we have this new movement that's called Clearweather, that's literally me and him and our partner, Matt, and it's awesome.
How did the brand name come about?
Doing a ton of research, I wanted something that was very simple. The logo could work really good on a shoe. That's the most important thing when it comes to a shoe. So we found the icon. I'm like, wow, this looks cool. Underneath it, it said Clearweather. It's a Native American, ancient Native American pictograph for Clearweather. It means Clearweather. Once I really fell in love with it, Clearweather meant it's me and him doing this, and there's no one else telling us what's right or wrong. We already went through the disasters of certain places and the joys of certain places, right? And we learned a ton, but it's literally clear weather because it's us doing it, and there's no one telling us what we can and can't do.
Well, let's get to the product. So you guys had some new silhouettes come out that you put on display this time. Which ones have gotten the most attention?
The Convex.
This one.
We just felt like it was time to open up a new tooling that is something fresh, an evolution of what we did to begin with. You know, we pulled our signature bottom tread up the sidewall, rounded out the bottom of the whole tool versus it being square and sharp, and then the top lines still have our like signature shelf.
The thing that's been great about this is like there's so many different ways that as a consumer you can interpret it. Like you can see kind of some little bit of athletic inspiration into it.
But that's where the offset is, right? So you would think you would pick it up and it'd be a super light sole. It's solid rubber, it's heavy. So we're pulling cues from fashion, mixing athletic in this aspect, and trying to create something that we're into. That's not really, there's no rules. There's doesn't have to be light.
So when are we gonna see the Convex come out?
Spring, summer 16. Actually, it's summer 16, so it'll be available 4/15.
4/15.
But let's not overshadow, right? Because we have another one, right? So like me and Josh's whole plan is like in general to like drop new silhouettes all the time, right? We've talked to you about that. We're gonna like keep on banging people over the head with like new design because that's what we're about, right? So it's like we have the Santora, which Josh is wearing right now, which is like a new low silhouette. That's kind of a riff off of like a Rude Boy, like classic, obviously, you know?
You gotta be much more of a daring, comfortable soul with the Convex versus this one is your everyday mover.
And honestly, this one, the Convex, was more outside of our element, right? Because we've done the very casual lifestyle shoe, and this one has a little more futuristic vibe to it, a lot more.
For people's perception of us, this is like outside of the box for us, right? But people don't really know like what we have coming, you know what I mean? So it's like we're gonna keep people like guessing and like be like, whoa.
The fun part about doing a new tool like this and doing something outside the box, out of our own box, was this whole silhouette was designed, inspired off of the bottom of a boat. So like it's more of like a boat roundedness. If you look at a boat outside the water, the hull. So we had a hell of a time trying to name this thing. The name actually goes back, like I said, it's opposite of concave, so it bows out. To me, like a lot of designers come from the car design world into the footwear design world, right? Because I think the car design is like very complex. There's a million designers working on one car, maybe a door handle, right? And they went to school engineering, it's all crazy. But shoes, you could do a whole thing, and that's what's awesome about it. But so I've been lately, I switch it up all the time, but lately I've been pulled a lot of design cues from boats.
Nice.
So it's a fun way to switch up your process. That's the way you keep everything healthy and new.
I'm Dre Hayes, one of the co-founders of the foundation, agency based out of New York. We've been in the business for about 10 years, and we've just been involved with quite a fefew footwear brands and streetwear brands, sales, brand strategy, consulting, brand development. You know, it's been a fun ride.
And on the footwear front, just talked to you over at the Diadora booth. Tell me how that's been working with Diadora and, you know, bringing that brand back to the scene here in the U.S.
Diadora has been great. You know, we got involved with them, I guess, the beginning of last year. You know, I love the brand from back in the day. I remember it from the late 80s, early 90s. You know, it was all about the Be Elite, the Maverick, and then, you know, in the suburbs was all about the soccer shoes, the Derby, and, you know, and that's really what the brand was known for. But little to my surprise, I did not know that they had such a steep history in heritage running. You know, I didn't know the brand was 70 years old either. You know, this is a true heritage athletic brand with a lot of performance history that, you know, not only made shoes in tennis and soccer, they made driving shoes, they made basketball shoes, they make running shoes, they make hiking shoes. I mean, they make every kind of shoe you can think of, and when we go look through these catalogs, the archives are just insane.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like, I mean, I've known a lot about the brand, but I always knew Maverick. I always knew, like, tennis, soccer.
But, you know, learning the history of the brand and how the Maverick was mainly a US dominant shoe. You know, people remember the Be Elite and they remember the Maverick. And some people won't even remember the Maverick by name, but when I say it, they're like, oh yeah, the Maverick. They know it right away.
Now, on the running front, they've done some really cool things with doing Italian-made product for their top tier. Tell me about how that it goes about.
All right, so the heritage of the company, this is an Italian sportswear brand, and that's a part of the DNA. And they want that to be something that they express to the world. So we started off originally doing all the collaborative product made in Italy, even to this day. Everything that's a collaboration is made in Italy. They have a factory at the headquarters, which is really cool, their original factory. And it's great to see that, and they're gonna continue that. But in addition to that, we've also started to do some inline product that's made in Italy. So we offered our first model, the S8000, for fall. It's gonna deliver in August. And that model will exclusively be made in Italy, whether it's a collaboration or inline. But in addition to the footwear that's being made in Italy and the lifestyle side, they're doing made in Italy performance apparel. Last time I was in Italy, they had some soccer cleats coming off the line that were made in Italy. So they're gonna tell this made in Italy story throughout the line. So there will be products in every part of the collection performance or lifestyle that's made in Italy. So it's great to see that.
And more than a story, the quality.
The quality's insane.
I mean, I don't know if I've seen better quality on product in terms of craftsmanship, materials, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, man, and they can do anything, and the pricing. I mean, it's like, you know, you're used to made in Italy trainers, made in Italy runners, you know, minimum $400, $500 plus. And you know, and they're doing it at a good price for the market. I actually think in some ways people are getting spoiled. You know, sometimes I go out and they're like, oh, that S8000 is $210. Man, it's expensive. I'm like, the shoe is made in Italy.
Well,
Y'all
I
are
mean,
tripping.
You look at it compared to like Balenciaga or Louis or Gucci's that are made in Italy, and it's like better quality than those joints for like a third of the price.
Exactly right. It's yeah, it's crazy. But also the import product they're doing, they're really doing a great job.
Well, I noticed that when I was just going into your booth at the N9000, I was looking at the import versus Italian, and you can tell some differences on the materials, but the shapes are almost identical between the two. And normally you don't see that with brands.
Every shoe that they bring back, they reconstruct it the original way, and that's something that they're maintaining and holding on to, because a lot of times when retro companies come back or they bring back retro models, they cut corners.
They just ship the shoe to Asia and remake this versus like ground up in Italy. Now I noticed that there's been quite a few good collaborations that Diadora has done, but I noticed that Diadora, unlike a lot of brands, is very selective with their collaboration partners. Tell me about like what the process is on selecting a collaboration partner and all that kind of stuff.
The team internally, they have a guy on board who's helped them craft the direction. I mean, with the U.S. partners, I was involved, you know, helping pick the U.S. partners and sitting down and doing it. And granted, you know, so far, we've seen collaborations come from Packers.
Right.
He's been the only one. You know, I can't really talk about the other ones that's coming, but there are some other partners, and there's some good ones coming with some of the best retailers in the United States, which, you know, in the sneaker communities, these are some of the best retailers in the world.
Right.
Really great projects. They're adding something to it because, you know, collaboration, there's so many collaborations out there. So, you know, you want to see something that's unique, that's interesting, that's different. And I can tell you all the partners have really enjoyed working with Diadora. You know, I mean, who doesn't want to make a shoe in Italy? So that's the first thing when I go in to meet with somebody, hey, we're gonna make your shoe in Italy, they're like, great. And then, you know, the whole process, the back and forth of working with the guys and being able to execute what they wanted to get done has been good.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Be on the lookout for what Dre, the Foundation, and Diadora's got coming for you.